All right, I think we are right
We're
now
live.
streaming. Very, very exciting. And I'm Laura Flanders. Thanks for joining us on the show. With me is beloved board member Terry McGovern. Um, Terry, thanks for joining us.
Happy to be here. Great show.
Terry works in the work of transformation also in the world of public health, but also in the law, and has played a very big role in changing the law at different times in a way that did create justice for more people in the world. So you know something about this story and what it takes to work on the inside and outside. I just have to say two things about this week and the occurrence of this program on Juneteenth weekend is that I think about those enslaved Africans in Texas who for 2.5 years remained enslaved because their enslavers refused to share the information about the emancipation. I think about them, I think about the generations that preceded them, and how for them the idea of emancipation didn't seem possible, could not have seemed possible, although generations were working for it. I wonder in this moment, as it was for them, that suddenly they heard, actually, you're emancipated, and you were 2.5 years ago. Could we possibly be going through a period like that, where just on the other side of this is a kind of massive change in our hearts and the way that we live? Am I Pollyanna today?
No, I don't think so. Let's hope that that's the case. I think that for the first time at least in my lifetime, white supremacy is being exposed at a level that is unbelievably joyful, frankly. So I think we may be at one of these moments, right, poised for change that's been long needed.
And that takes me back to media, of course, because
Right.
I think, they would enslave for lack of information.
Right. Right.
And I just think, people who watch this show, I hope you get it, that our goal is to bring good news, even if it's just a smidgen of good news. So that good news about the reparations drive and work and accomplishment in Chicago was huge to me, and I hadn't heard about it in the media.
No, of course not. But it's like,
There's an echo.
lack of information. That's also why people have asthma and people don't understand why they're so much sicker, right? It has everything to do with people not being given information about things that directly affect their lives, their health, about justice. So I think this is kind of across the board the case. It's the reason we see higher maternal mortality numbers in Black women. It's all about information.
So where do we go from here? I mean, there's a part of this conversation, and I do encourage people to check out the full conversation, because as you can tell, Jackie and I and Mariam went in all sorts of directions, and we talked about all sorts of things. And we make available the full uncut interview to all of our Patreon subscribers. So check that out. But one of the things that came up in that conversation was Mariam saying, punishment makes us feel good. We can't help it. We're bred to feel good when we get our, as it were, when we see someone who's harmed us or harmed somebody we love get their just desserts. I'm still waiting for Dick Cheney to get taken away in chains. But every time we feed into that, we're feeding into this culture of punishment. And I appreciate that, because she works at such a sort of systemic level, but she's also asking us to do that personal work, and that work at the very sort of interpersonal level. So I don't know. I think all we can do is try and do our part, right? And the fact that Mariam lays out a 10-point plan of how you can do your part for people who are incarcerated for abolition is super helpful. So Terry, I want to thank you so much for being on our board and helping us in this project.
Of course, my pleasure.
And we will be back next week. I'm not able to see the questions that people are posing. I don't know why this time, but I know that they're good. And how about we answer them next week? I also appreciate all of you who are making this program possible, as I'm away from home today, actually visiting people who, well, we none of us know how much time we have. And it was interesting and special to be able to be with people we love very much on this Juneteenth weekend. And so, Terry, at the last minute, thank you for stepping in. And we're going to see Jackie Lewis more on the show for sure. I appreciate Jackie very, very much. And she would have been here today, except that she preaches Sunday mornings. And you can join her congregation via Zoom, via YouTube anytime you want. So look up Middle Collegiate Church in New York, join the YouTube congregation, and follow us on Patreon, where you can get be the first on your block to know about the uncut version of the conversation. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you,
Thanks
Laura,
for being with us.
for
Thank
doing
you.
such a
Very
great
fun.
show.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Really fun. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.